Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of my chronic guilt and shame series. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. Today, in this voice note, I will be covering HOCD and ROCD and how those two themes link into chronic guilt and shame. Now, many people that I coach and that we coach here often have, not all, but often have HOCD and ROCD linked in. Because whether you're in a relationship, it's going to latch to your partner. It's going to latch to the, oh my God, if only they knew, therefore I have to leave him. Oh my God, what if they're not the one for me? I therefore have to leave him. Or maybe you're single, right? Maybe you're single and you don't want to get into a relationship because of the doubting around attractions and arousals and love and affection and all those kind of lovey-dovey feelings, the doubt around that. So you don't know where to turn. You don't know whether to remain single, you don't know whether to date the opposite sex, or you may be so confused about the same sex, then you think, well, what do I do? And that is very common for HOCD. Okay, remember that you are going to doubt absolutely everything. You're going to have all kinds of feelings and thoughts come in. You're going to have all kinds of groiner responses come in. You're going to have all kinds of arousal and attraction feelings come in. That is part of the disorder. Remember that OCD has hijacked the control room there, but the only way under that is going towards the worst case scenario, accepting even if it were true, even if you were attracted to your mate, to the same sex, even if you're attracted to your friend more than your partner, you got to keep trying to break this down. Otherwise, OCD will have the upper hand. OCD will call the shots to your life. You're giving the keys to your life in the hands of OCD, and you are the passenger to your own life. OCD drives around and you're just in the back seat getting swung from left to right. OCD is calling all the shots. Now, in order to get our life back, we have to break down the worst case scenario, learn to apply unconditional acceptance, breaking down irrational beliefs, gradually chipping away and looking to shift perspectives, as well as many other things behaviorally. But those are the main things with the guilt and shame relating to HOCD and ROCD. So, HOCD. Now, let's say you're in a relationship with somebody of the opposite sex. Now, you are going to be looking at them in the eyes thinking, oh God, if only you knew. If only you knew I just had this thought about somebody of the same sex and came with it feelings of attraction, feelings of arousal. You're wallowing in doubt. That's how it's going to feel, right? You're going to feel ultra confused. You're going to feel ultra lost. You're going to feel very, very hopeless. Now, OCD is a very confusing disorder as it is. I felt very confused and lost on my journey. I felt hopeless at times, thinking, where do I do? What do I do? Where do I turn? Everything that I felt like I did or tried, OCD came back with a vengeance, and that's how it felt. So, let's say you're looking at your partner and you're thinking, oh gosh, I've just had a thought. Maybe it was during intimacy as well. Maybe you just had sex with your partner and all you could think about was somebody of the same sex. And you think, right, I have to leave. I have to get out of here. I can't stay with this. I'm wasting their time. Here comes the guilt and shame angle. I'm wasting their time. What are they doing dating me? If only they knew that. They could leave me right now. I could leave them right now. I could put this relationship out of its misery and find somebody of the same sex. Now, that is how convincing it's going to feel. And they'll be talking to you. Maybe it's just a normal conversation and you're looking right through them with that 1,000-yard vacant stare, looking right through them like they're not even there. You're looking at them, but you're looking around them, right? Whatever they say, it just isn't going in. Sorry, say that again. What? Say that again. Sorry, say that again. That's what I used to do all the time with my partner. Sorry, say that again. I was looking at them. I was listening to their words, but it just wasn't computing because I was 1 million miles away in my head. I was so caught up, going round and round and round, fixated, and I was so invested in working it out, in trying to get certainty. I was so focused on that. If I can just work this out, I need to prove that I didn't have a thought about somebody of the same sex during sex. I need to work it out. I need to make sure I didn't do that. She might be talking to me. Nope, I need to work this out. So I'm looking through them. We all know how that feels. Okay, looking through that misted glass. I can often tell when somebody's suffering very, very quickly just by how they are, how they talk, their tone of voice. You know, if I saw somebody in person, I can just tell by that checked out look, that vacant look. right? And that's because you're so caught up in your own mind, normally trying to chase a feeling or trying to figure something out or just trying to get some kind of clarification in your mind, trying to erase that confused feeling. But that is a very futile chase with OCD because it will not be satisfied. Even if you get some kind of quote unquote evidence, I don't know how that can be done because that's an illusion, but even if you thought like you got some evidence around your sexuality, OCD would doubt that within seconds and say, yes, but how about that? Yes, but how about this? So with HOCD, you're going to feel very guilty and feel like you're letting the other person down, feel like you're disappointing them. Maybe it's latching to the kids you have. Maybe it's latching to the future that you've got planned. Well, if I have kids and they grow up and it turns out that their father or their mother is actually attracted to the same sex, what if they feel embarrassed by that? What if I let them down? What if they feel disappointed in that? What if somebody picks on them because of that? OCD is going to attack all those kind of fears. Always remember that. So with HOCD, it's going to be leave now, leave now, leave now. Just leave that relationship. Don't put them through any more of this. Let them out, let them out, let them go and date somebody that hasn't got HOCD. Let them date somebody who hasn't got all these doubts. Let them date somebody that's not me. Right? And that's how it's going to feel. And even if you're single, you are going to be so reluctant to even start dating and to get in any kind of relationship because you think, well, even if I date this someone of the opposite sex, what's the point? I'm not going to feel any feelings of attraction, no feelings of love. I'm going to be sat here waiting for a feeling, and ultimately 10 years, 20 years, 30 years could pass by and I'm not going to enjoy any of it because deep down it feels like I am actually attracted to the same sex, right? So straight away, you've got the fear of angle in there as well. Like this is never going to go, that you're going to be stuck forever, that you're going to be suffering for the rest of your life, that you're going to get even worse, that you're going to then waste somebody else's life and then your life's ruined and then it's totally compromised forever and you can never be happy. All that kind of stuff, right? So with HOCD, you've got to just take that risk, okay? You've got to take that leap. Elliot says it excellently well. He says with HOCD, waiting for a feeling, it's like waiting for a train to arrive that just doesn't arrive, okay? You could be waiting a lifetime for that. Stood on the platform, come on then, where are we going? No, it's not here yet. Come on, hurry up. Oh, is that it? Nope, not here yet, right? You've got to go and find another way, right? Go and sort out a different way of transport. A bit like with OCD. You got to find a way. If you're putting off dating because of HOCD, you got to just find a way to do it anyway. Because ultimately, you could be single for the rest of your life. I'm not talking about people that actually want to remain single for whatever reason. I'm talking about somebody that isn't actively dating because of HOCD, because they are waiting for that feeling of attraction towards women, towards men, whoever the opposite sex is to you. So please stop waiting for that. Please stop chasing that. Let any feeling be there. Drop the internal guard. Surrender to any non-feeling of attraction and take that one day at a time. Because if I said to you, yes, start dating, you're never going to feel attraction again. You just go, fuck that, and you probably wouldn't ever date, right? So you're not dating to feel attraction. You're dating to act against OCD. And ultimately, you're not waiting for that feeling. And over time, as we break down the beliefs around the feelings being there, the demands, I need to feel a certain way. I must feel in love. I must feel totally attracted and aroused by them in order to date them. It would be terrible if I don't feel attracted. I just couldn't stand it. It would be totally unbearable to me and the worst thing ever, feeling attraction towards somebody of the same sex and I'm dating the opposite sex. Awful. Horrible. I couldn't deal with that. Couldn't cope with that. I could not cope with them getting into a relationship with me and I have all these feelings. I feel like I ruined their life. And those kind of beliefs, I'm afraid, will link to very chronic guilt and shame feelings. Okay. Now, it's also, you've got the self-rating, which comes with that. So I'm a bad person. I'm a terrible person. I should have known better. This shouldn't have happened. Think what I said in my first ever voice note with the Chronic Guilt and Shame series. How does guilt and shame happen? Well, guilt and shame happens from that this shouldn't have happened, or I shouldn't have done this, or life shouldn't be like this, or this shouldn't have happened in the past, or things shouldn't be this way. And because this thing happened that shouldn't have done, I'm such a terrible person. I'm such a bad person. I deserve to be punished. I can't be happy. My life is ruined. There's no wonder you're going to be swarmed by feelings of guilt and shame if that is your kind of beliefs that you're holding, those catastrophic beliefs that you're holding. So HOCD, please stop waiting for those feelings. I know it's super hard because I know how real it feels. But ultimately, do you want to spend your whole life sat down, waiting around for a feeling of attraction? Like Elliot says, that train that never arrives. You'd be sat on the platform for eternity, for a lifetime. For 25, 30, 40, 50 years, you're still sat on that platform. When's this fucking train going to arrive? Well, I'm afraid it ain't going to arrive. You got to just go and get on with it anyway and go and find another way. Crucial. ROCD. Many times I hear people say this. Yes, but they're such an amazing person. And because I'm thinking these things about them, I then have to leave him or her, and they're going to feel so heartbroken. I'm going to hurt them emotionally. It's going to link to that aspect as well, that their heart's going to be broken. They'll never come back from that. Oh my God, I'm about to destroy and end their whole life. Oh my God, what if they then self-harm? OCD is going to target all of that. Okay, so you'll be looking at these people, or your partners, sorry, and every trait you don't like about them will be intensified. It will be magnified. It will be completely blown out of proportion, and everything is fixated on the things you don't like about them. And then what you then do, as many people that are in coaching with me dealing with ROCD, you then foolishly, yes, very foolishly, you jump to the conclusion that because of this trait, I then have to leave. I then need to leave. There is no other way. I've got to get out of here. I don't want to ruin their life by staying with them, and I don't love them, and I don't like them. And ultimately, my whole life is ruined being in a relationship with somebody I don't want to be with somebody who's, quote unquote, not the one for me. Somebody that I could maybe be happier with elsewhere. Somebody who's maybe more compatible. Somebody that I maybe have more attraction to. More feelings of love to. Well, that's the risk you're going to have to take, I'm afraid. So you've got to run the risk of you potentially splitting up, and maybe you were responsible. Maybe they do go down a bit of a spiral. Maybe you are at fault, very loose term that I say there, at fault for their downfall. But when you're being totally stoic and rational, people disturb themselves. Even if you left your partner and they then spiral, they then have a bit of a wobble themselves, they would disturb themselves by how they view you leaving them, how they view their situation of you leaving them. Okay? I'm nowhere saying you have to leave them here, but OCD and especially ROCD will attack that. It's going to go, yes, but I'm only staying in this relationship because what happens if they get upset? What happens if their downfall happens? What happens if they never come back from that? OCD's targeting that. Okay? And it's also targeting if you remain with them. Remember, if ROCD, it's trying to leave you in a situation where you can't win. So where you can't leave and you can't stay, right? What the hell do you do, right? So remember, it's going to do that. It's going to say, well, shit, if I leave him, then that's going to happen. But if I stay, then that's going to happen. So you just stood there going, what the fuck do I do? And that's how ROCD is going to feel. It's going to feel, it's going to leave you feeling very trapped and in limbo and stuck, right? I used to see, I'll be totally honest with you, I used to see ROCD as the whiny theme. I hold my hands up. I used to see it. Remember, when I was stuck with POCD back in 2018-19, I'd have traded my legs for ROCD if POCD was going to go. I would have done that. But as you start realizing what's happening there with OCD, and as my knowledge has grown around OCD, plus my own experience, my own suffering, that I've had all kinds of themes, ROCD as well, not as extreme, but I've had it as there as well. And I totally understand. I totally get how that feels. No way is it the whiny theme. There is no whiny themes, okay? That doesn't exist because each theme is as bad as each other when you're caught in the midst of it, right? But the biggest thing with ROCD is you define your whole life on your relationship, right? So let's say something isn't quite right in your relationship. Maybe it's a genuine problem. Maybe it's ROCD. You're never really going to know, I'm afraid. Sorry to break that news to you, but you're never going to really know. You've got a good indication, whether it's a genuine issue, whether it's a genuine concern, but sometimes you have to run the risk of not knowing, right? Because OCD will magnify and intense these things and completely zoom in to these things. So that's what it would do with ROCD. So it's going to leave you trapped in thinking whether there is no way out. There is no way out at all here. Okay? So it's running that risk of never knowing, but also, even if you stayed with them and they could have maybe dated somebody better, that's how the guilt and shame is going to come and get in. Because every ounce in your body is screaming at you that, oh my God, you're going to have to leave if this happens. Oh my God, you can't stay with them because of that trait, because of that thing they did. You got to leave, you can't stay with them, get out of here, right? And let's say you go, I'm going to stay with them, or you choose to stay with them. It's then saying, but you knew this thing about them, you knew this trait about them, you knew this behavior of theirs, you knew this thing that they did. Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? You're now wasting their life. You're holding them back, and your life is now over now. You can't enjoy any aspect of your life because of this thing, right? Because your relationship might not be right, or because you might not be totally happy in your relationship, then that's it. Life's over, life's done. Right? So you're not just viewing your relationship as part of your life, you're saying, well, if my relationship isn't right, then my whole life is rated as wrong. And that's the problem. That's a problem, okay? Because once you start realizing that other than relationships, you've got your job, you got your career, you got your hobbies, you got your interests, you got your passions, you got your work, you got all these other things going on. But what you tend to do, you put in your sexuality, you put in your relationship, you put in your feelings of attraction, your feelings of love on a complete pedestal. So it's above everything else. It's everything else is, on the even playing ground, all down there, but my relationship and my attraction up here. I need to get that just right. Now, OCD will target that. Remember, it takes orders from beliefs. It will target that. It will scan for that framework it sees right. This person here sees their relationship as absolutely everything. Let's throw in a whirlwind of doubt. Let's go. And then off you go down the ROCD spiral. So the main thing of ROCD is breaking down two things. If you stay with them and if you leave them. Okay, breaking down the worst case scenario with both of them. It's also going to doubt your intentions, isn't it? It's also going to doubt, but whether if I want to leave them, what happens if I actually want to be single and I stay with them? What happens if I actually want to leave them, what happens if I actually want to stay with them and I leave them and I realise I've gave up a very good partner? It's going to do all of that. This is what I mean by where it traps you in, leaving you in limbo. Many people with ROCD say to me, but Sam, I just don't know what to do, because no matter what I try and think in my relationship, OCD will doubt. Well, yes, that is the doubting disorder. That's the nature of this disorder. This is why it's very crucial breaking down both situations. If you chose to stay, even if you wanted to leave, and if you chose to leave, even if you wanted to stay, because OCD is going to doubt all of that. It's going to doubt all your choices, all your decisions, whether you wish to do that, whether you wanted to do this. It's going to doubt all of that. So to fully get under that, we've got to be looking at making peace, even if we made the wrong decision, and even if we affected the other partner, even if we affected them and their mental health and emotionally hurt them. Because you're going to be looking at them thinking, oh my God, if you knew I thought these things about you, if you knew I thought this, if you knew I talked to an OCD coach about this, if you knew I had this going on in the background, you wouldn't want to be with me. Oh my God. So you've got the guilt and shame just looking at them. Yet again with HOCD, with that 1,000-yard stare looking through them. But if only you knew this. If only you knew I had this thought during intimacy. If only you knew I had this thought about that your ears, and I don't like your ears. Only if you knew. I just don't like the way you act at times, the way you speak at times. If only you knew this. Because OCD, I've heard it all with ROCD, right? I've heard it all, where even just the smallest part of somebody, right? Even as just like, I don't know, the way they walk, right? And that can be, with an ROCD sufferer, everything. So just because they walk, they might have a strange technique of how they walk. Right, I need to leave. It's over. The relationship's completely terrible. If I stay with them, I'm going to feel terribly guilty. I'm wasting their life. I'm wasting my life. If only I knew this. If only I just let them go. If only I just moved on. Oh my God, but once I left them and then they got the downfall and they never come back from that just because of this. So see what I mean there? With that way of thinking, OCD's leaving you completely trapped in, not knowing what to do. So it's breaking down both scenarios, even if you wanted to stay and even if you left, right? And trying to make peace with that and learning to accept yourself with any decision. Accepting yourself unconditionally, even if you stayed with somebody you didn't want to be with, and even if you left somebody that you wanted to be with. That is crucial for our OCD. As we start getting under that, then the chronic guilt and shame that comes with it. Yes, and of course there's other feelings of anxiety, panic, depression, all that comes with it, I know. But the guilt and shame angle stems from, I should be leaving. I shouldn't stay with them. I'm a terrible person for staying with them. How could I have done this? How could I have done that when my intentions were this? Okay, so that is what OCD is going to target. Always remember that. So I hope you found this voice note enjoyable for you HOCD sufferers and ROCD sufferers. I'm sure there's very relevant content in there for you. Okay, you're not alone. There is so much hope, so much hope. The bottom line for HOCD and ROCD is please stop judging things on feelings. Okay, I know that sounds like, oh, for God's sake, but I love feelings. I just want to get affectionate. I just want to feel in love. Well, I'm afraid you've got a dating disorder. I'm afraid with time, no guarantee. I'm never going to give you a guarantee, but with time, it's likely the feelings may return. But please don't cling on to that. Please don't say, well, Sam says they're going to return, so I've got to keep doing. You've got to make peace with you, even if these feelings never returned. Even if you never felt attracted to the opposite sex again. Even if you felt constantly attracted to the same sex again, we have to learn to make peace with that. And then OCD stops scanning, it stops magnifying it, it stops intensifying it, and it stops latching to it. Okay, and that is how we get OCD to back down. Okay, very, very important. Hope you've enjoyed this voice note. You're not alone. There is so much hope. You can get better.